Good evening. I'm Councilwoman Zanthia. I represent the 3rd District. I'm running for re-election for the 3rd District, so please vote for Zanthia Oliver for re-election for the 3rd District. I have some special guests on this evening. No need to introduce them. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. They're well-known throughout the community, starting with Ms. Covington.
Hi, thank you so much for allowing me on the show today. I appreciate that. Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle Covington, and I am running for one of the Wilmington City Council at-large seats. Thank you so much for having me.
And good evening, Wilmington. I'm Chris Johnson. A lot of you already know me. I represent the 7th District, which is part of the West Side. And I look forward to having your support for re-election and continuing to move our city forward.
Thank you, Chris. I'm going to start with you, Ms. Covington. What are you doing in the community? What are you currently doing in the community that helps you run for the office that you're running for at large?
Well, right now, actually, over the past few years, I have been primarily in the community in 3 different areas. Number one, I help people to find necessary resources from refrigerators to washing machines. I also run an on-site and mobile food pantry, making sure that our children or families are fed. So we feed about 1,000 families a year. Mm-hmm. And then last but not least, every year I host and organize a community resource event. So I partner with different nonprofit organizations and things like that to make it an amazing event, and we do a lot of giveaways and things like that.
And she normally does that in the 3rd District in Prices Park, so I want to throw that out there. And it's always nice. And what I can speak about Danielle personally, she's always in the community. She works hard. I have partnered with her giveaway with the food, the pantries. I mean, one thing about you, you're always giving away. Mm-hmm. So I can see you in this leadership role because it's what you do naturally anyway. And I really appreciate all the work that you do in the 3rd District. Mm-hmm. So why are you running for office?
Well, I would say because, over the years, just being in the community, hearing different concerns and witnessing the different concerns of our community, I decided that I can, being in this position will allow me to make a greater impact, so here I am.
And one thing I'm going to say about Danielle, she's always volunteered for me. She was my assistant for a minute until she decided to run for office. And she was always on time, very dependable. And one thing I could say about her that she would be a true leader in this position because she's very dependable and she's always on time. And it's hard to find somebody that's on time. So if I would say 5 o'clock, she's there 10 minutes to 5 or 5 minutes to 5. And, that means a lot when individuals take time seriously because time is of essence.
And I want to add in, Zanthia, I think what's important is a lot of people ask me, who to vote for at large. And that's always a question you get. And part of the answer I give is, look at what people have been doing. So that's one thing I've always, I actually admire about Danielle is that she's put the work in before. So you know what she's going to do when she gets in office because she's already been doing the work. So it's a little different if somebody hasn't done the work necessarily. Mm-hmm. It's hard, to step into a high profile role, but you've been doing the work in the community. I know your work because I support things on the West Side and also East Side. I come to a lot of events on the East Side all over. And for me, I'm about supporting us all sections of the city. So I appreciate that work you've been putting in through the years.
So hopefully you'll tell people I did mentor you a little bit. So you need to throw that out there.
Yes. So Councilwoman Oliver. Yeah, so the different events that I do, especially the community resource event that I do every year, you were a huge supporter of that, so I thank you for that. I mean, she was there from the beginning to the end, and that's every year. And a lot of it, I would say, it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for your support. So I thank you for that. And like you said, anytime you need some help volunteering or anything like that, whatever you're doing in the community, I'm here. And that goes for, you'll see me out there everywhere. If anyone needs some help, I'm boots on the ground. So,
yes, she is. And she's good with doing flyers also.
So we had
call her 6 o'clock in the morning.
We had
she'll call me back and she'll do a flyer for me.
Wherever I can help, I'm there.
Yeah, so. You've been good.
No, I appreciate your support, even on the West Side. You We had the Narcan event this summer, and you stepped up. I didn't expect you there, and you were there. You came out, helped give out the kits, and that was on 3rd Street. And that's one of the hardest hit areas in the city. So I appreciate your support. And, assuming you assume the role in council, I look forward to having you on the West Side to support our events. Again, we're all a family. Wilmington's a small place, so I try not to look at boundaries, and 95 is not a barrier. And I appreciate you helping out on the West Side.
So where are you on the ballot? Because I know you've already voted. If somebody say, where are you on the ballot, what would you tell them?
You mean actually if you want to go out there to vote, just look all the way down to the bottom, and I'm right in the middle, smack dab right in the middle. You'll see I'm the 3rd person on the ballot, Danielle Covington, the 3rd person.
Okay,
on the ballot.
Good for you. Danielle, I think you would do good on council. So finally, what would you like to say? What would you like to say to the people?
First of all, I would like to say thank you to everyone who has supported me over the years in my community endeavors, who has been supporting me in this political journey. I really appreciate you, and I'm grateful. I'm looking forward to becoming one of your next city council members at large to do more together. If you would like to learn more about me, just go ahead and visit my website at www.voteforcovington.com. And, I'll see you on the other side. Vote for Danielle Covington. Thank you. All right. So I actually have to get going. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I got some other things I need to do for the campaign.
Now, welcome to our work. Welcome to our work. Go ahead, you can leave.
5 days. Vote for Covington.
That's right. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I will continue to work with you, however it goes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tell your husband I said hi.
I will.
You keep up the good work. Now, you're talking about somebody upcoming. We have to, groom our youth. Mm-hmm. And she's one of the ones that has really, oh, by the way, she was the one for the $610 check that people were talking about. It was for her bandwagon, for her church event. So that's Miss Covington, who I've always supported.
And that's something important, Zanthia, I think, and something I want to highlight is cultivating leaders.
Right.
It's something that I've been big into, because that's why strengthening neighborhood associations, strengthening neighborhood planning councils, that's been a focus of mine through council, because we have to cultivate the next leaders, because at the end of the day, we're not going to be here forever, and so we need those future leaders to be able to step in and help lead the city. So many hands at work make light work. So we really need to continue to do that and celebrate our youth.
That's right. And I'm glad you mentioned that the civic associations. We do finally have a organized civic association for the East Side. Who have voted themselves in. No more volunteers. Well, we need volunteers, but I just thought it was important that we had a stable civic association, because the mayor has put a lot of money into the East Side, and it was like, pulling teeth. But long story short, I'm glad we're past that. We have Miss Dorsey that's going to just fit on there and just put your sign up. Yep. So Chris is co-hosting with me today.
But it is, the civic associations, I can't understate that, because I know how on the East Side and the West Side, we've had to work tremendously, especially coming out of COVID, to get organizations even meeting again. I know I had a little Italy that was defunct for a while. Been working on them. Southwest Civic Association out west, getting them revamped, restarted. So it's been a struggle, and it's been hard, because a lot of people, there was a lot of momentum prior to COVID. Then COVID happened, the group stopped meeting. And so even 4th Street, I know State Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker has been part and vital in trying to rebuild the 4th Street Civic Association, because they weren't meeting for a while after the untimely death of Pastor Lottie. So that's what we have. And I don't know if you want to share just how, from a leadership role, State Representative Dorsey Walker, how you've seen civic association struggle and what you're doing to help.
Sure, please introduce yourself and continue on.
Well, thank you for having me,
Of
Councilwoman, and thank you, Councilman. Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker, candidate for Lieutenant Governor. And as Councilman Johnson just mentioned, 4th Street, we have the 4th Street Visionaries, and they do such an amazing job. And of course, the untimely death of Pastor Lottie Lee very tragic, but at the end of the day, we knew that we had to continue the work. I remember Pastor Lottie and I would set our hairdresser appointments at the same time. Should we go to Joyce at 2nd and Franklin?
I know Joyce.
Yes, and it was when getting that call that something happened to her, and the very next day we had a community cleanup, and we continued with the community
I
cleanup.
remember that.
Remember?
I thought that was
Yes.
really
In her honor.
Yes, I was gonna say that was real honorable, just to continue with it.
Yes, and after the community cleanup, I told the community what transpired with Pastor Lottie, and I just remember after the cleanup, I wasn't hopeless, but felt a little broken.
Okay.
Because I'm still human.
Okay, that's right.
And walked around what is now Pastor Lottie's dream coming true, Solomon's Court, but then it wasn't built. And I walked around 7 times, just like Jericho's wall. And I could just hear God say, build it, build it. And we just continued the community.
Let me ask you a question. When do they start building the houses? When will they start?
They already have.
Oh, praise God.
That's
I
already
do see
started.
a fence around it.
Fencing is
Okay, so I'm right. I just
So
see
we
the
do
fence. I
have
haven't.
some people who are differently able. It was important to her that differently
And that's
able
part of your
individuals.
leadership.
Well, by God's grace and mercy, thank
Okay,
you.
okay. What else do you have going up there? I mean, you had done a lot up there. So are the civic associations getting better?
Yes. Oh,
and is that the
amazing.
area where some of that money for small businesses also?
Well, you know what's interesting? We were able to get funds for West Side Grows Together.
what I meant.
And then West Side Grows Together has done a phenomenal job in our
Okay.
community. And I would like to give a special shout out to Councilwoman Yolanda McCoy. She does a really good job with the civic associations in the 6th District.
Okay.
And it's when Councilman Bob Williams and I were on council together, we worked together closely. And I'm glad to see that that's still happening with the 6th and the 7th districts. Yes, I'm glad to see that
What else
work.
would you like to talk about? I know you got so much going on. Did you just come from Washington or Dover? I mean, because she's all up. No, the Peach Festival. I said, she's at the Peach Festival. That did me in. I was like, I know she's all over. And
Up and down state.
they said, I saw state rep at the Peach. I said, the Peach Festival. That girl,
That
that
was
lady.
I'm telling you, it was fun too. With the Wyoming and Middletown Peach Festivals. But you know what's so important? That in this process of running up and down the state, that our seniors never feel forgotten. Because I'm making my business to be at our schools. On the first day of school, I went to all of the Christina School District schools. Because my babies need to see it. If they can see it, they can believe it, and they can achieve it. And so it's my heart's desire that we're grooming the next city council members, the next state rep, state senator, the next lieutenant governor, the next governor, the next president of the United States.
That's right.
That we're grooming leaders. And they don't necessarily have to go into office. That we're grooming teachers. We're grooming educators. That we're grooming people who want to make a difference in our community, social workers. But that we're doing it.
Okay.
We're putting our hands on our children in a loving manner, and that they feel us.
Let me ask you a question, State Rep. What made you want to run for lieutenant governor? Because I know you do. I mean, you're so important to our community as a state rep. You're on that pardon board, and I've heard this. I mean, from so many people that I know who went down there, and this is the first time that the majority of whoever's attended, they are finally getting all these pardons. And Chris knows because he's an attorney, and he's always down there helping people get in their part. But tell me why you wanted to run for lieutenant governor when you're one of the ones we need in our community.
Well, you'll still have me in the community.
Okay.
I'll just be elevated and have access to more resources to
Okay.
bring back to the community
Okay.
as the lieutenant governor.
Okay.
And so it's important to me that we have someone who chairs the Board of Pardons who's from our community. And I mentioned previously that someone who understands that our children are just one car ride away from a felony. That you can literally get in the car with someone and not know that they have some drug paraphernalia, that they have a gun, and then now your life has been shifted. Now you have this felonies on you, and then you come before the Board of Pardons, and you have someone who understands, who's from the community, who gets it. That's important to me. But not just that, being able to shift our state as it pertains to affordable housing and having a say in that, having a say in agriculture, and having served on the Ag Committee for the last 6 years. Making sure, which is our #1 industry, making sure that women in voting rights matter, that veterans' rights, that we're upholding our veterans. Because as I always say, an oxymoron to me is a homeless veteran. That is something that should never exist. My father served in Vietnam prior to his untimely death. No veteran should ever be homeless. And so we as leaders, we can do better. And I desire to do better in this position and be able to help people up and down our state. And so Wilmington, I'm going to still be Wilmington. Okay, I'm always going to be Wilmington. I'm born, raised, bred. But now it's time for me to share the love with Kent and Sussex. And I have been.
Now, a question, State Representative Dorsey Walker. This is helpful because we get the affordable housing question all the time in Owen Council, and we've made great strides on the west side. I mean, we've had probably some of the only affordable housing besides Riverside project. We have the Flats, and we have Solomon's Court. So we've been doing it on the west side. But statewide, I don't know what momentum there is, if there's groups that exist already that can help do these housing projects. I don't know. Is that something that you've looked into?
Absolutely, because I serve on the executive committee of the work group, which is the Team Warehouse, Reach Riverside, and Kingswood Community Center. And as such, as was mentioned by the councilman, we are building houses. We're also building a school, and we're making sure that our children are taken care of properly. And so we're making sure that we're taking care of the whole community. And this is a model we can take up and down the state. Listen, Logan Herring is doing amazing work. His team is doing amazing work. And this is something that this is a model that can be in Kent County. It can be in Sussex County. So the model already exists. It's just a matter of making sure that we have the right people at the table to do it up and down the state.
And one thing I wanted to mention, the model definitely exists because look what Middletown used to be, and now look at the majority of homes, how fast it has grown. So it's houses being put up all down there. I have some friends that live in areas downstate, and I'm like, I never knew it was here because it used to be swamp or it was just desert.
Cornfields.
Yeah, that's cornfields, that's right. And now I'm riding down there, I'm like, where do you put up these new houses? So whatever's going on, it's a lot of people building, maybe not as fast in the city because we're not annexed, so we don't have much land. But one thing for sure, it's houses being put up.
But you mentioned something about annexation. And so it's important that council sends us legislation down to Dover so that we can annex, because Middletown was able to grow because they can annex. And so that's something to think about.
That gets me excited because as the finance chair of council, we just need a bigger tax base. So that's actually, you're one of the few state officials who I've ever heard say that because you understand the city. Because that is, I know one thing, I know I've even talked to the mayor about is you have the company that's right across the line, the farmer company.
Insight.
So we're now trying to pitch them to come in the city, and that deal's being worked on. But we could have, if we annexed, we could have had that campus anyway. You know?
It's easy math.
It's
easy math.
A lot of tax base.
One thing for sure, I can say that State Rep has always been our community. She's always out there. I call her, she calls me back, she gives me advice. She's always very encouraging and always have a positive attitude, so I really appreciate that. Chris, let me ask you a question. When you go down there and you're trying to work with your pardons, are you able to talk to the people that's on the board, or you have to wait till you get in there? Are you able to talk to Representative Sherry and all of them and try to convince?
So the way it works, it is very formal. So now informally, you of course can let them know your position, but it is official on record hearing. So when I present a client, you present the client, you present the application. So a lot of it is based on what they're reading, and then just the background and person on board, Well,
have you noticed the difference since it's more minorities down there? Because you've been doing this for years. Can you see the difference where more of your clients are receiving pardons?
It's getting better.
Gotcha.
We still have a ways to go, though.
Okay.
Still have a ways.
Okay. Good for you.
Well, we'll get there when I become the chair of the Board of Pardons.
Right.
as the next lieutenant governor. Hallelujah.
Now, when you talk about the agriculture, when I saw you over ShopRite, could you speak about that a little bit? Because I thought that was very interesting how that SNAP is going to work. And when will that take place?
I believe that was almost immediate, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yes. And
the coupons.
Yes. And so the beauty of it is that was something that Senator Brown worked on with many others from the White House to bring that initiative here to Delaware. And so I'd like to just make sure that we give the credit where it is due.
Oh, he was there. That's
Yes,
right.
yes, and
I
one of
think
the
all y'all
organizers
doing
of
a very
that.
good job down there. I have to get credit. Y'all have the Black Caucus, and it's we said we're going to try that next term on City Council.
Okay.
So we can meet before we go on the floor.
That is
so we
absolutely
can be
excellent idea.
organized and talk about some legislation before it hits the floor. Or
Absolutely.
the committee room or however. So we can. I think that's a great idea.
It is, because what it does, and it's not so much about the time frame of the meetings, but what it does is it gives you an opportunity to have the robust conversation about the legislation, and you're not necessarily having to do it publicly. And then this is not a situation where you don't want to be transparent. I want to be very clear on that. It's a situation where the legislators can start to get clarity on the actual legislation, because some legislators may have questions about legislation that you may just be seeing it for the first time when you're on the floor. And because I was on council. And so ultimately what we need to do is change the law, change the charter, so that when 7 council members are together, that's not considered a meeting, that you can sit down, have robust conversations about legislation, and flush it out together, so that when you're on television, because the council, Wilmington City Council, you're stars, like you're on TV. People look to the council. I know everywhere you go, they're like, oh, I saw you on TV. I saw you on Channel 22 or 20. But people look to the council. And I feel like council needs to be given far more respect. And that can happen. And so send the
Amen.
legislation.
Amen.
Because it's
Amen.
and
People
you
don't know
speak
how
from
hard we work.
authority and experience because you were there, but that's something we are fighting with and will continue to fight because there's a lot of stuff that's important in council, housing, still working on public safety initiatives, and it's hard to, like, we talk one-on-one with each other, small groups, but it's hard to talk as a group because we can't meet. We can't meet without it being a quorum. So we can't discuss, rent stabilization or some big bills that are coming.
That's egregious.
We can't discuss that.
Yeah, I don't know who
So-
put that together. But it's,
Well, this is why the charter needs to be a charter change. And so you send your charter change down to Dover, and you send it to your legislator to get your legislator to get that on the floor. I don't recall a time when other legislators in Dover voted against a charter change. I don't, in my time being there, I don't recall that.
but once you become the lieutenant governor, we will be in touch with you with that.
And we'll work with the General Assembly to make that
Yes.
happen.
Okay.
Yes.
So some things you'd like to say in closing?
So you mentioned having served on the board of parole, and I did prior to becoming a state rep. We can't be a dual office holder in the state of Delaware. So the beauty of it is, having served on Wilmington City Council, served on the board of parole, and just completed my 3rd full term as a state rep, I am uniquely qualified
Yes,
to
you
be
are.
the next lieutenant governor. And I am looking forward to serving people at a higher level.
Okay.
The elevation will come, but the beauty of it is, as I mentioned earlier, being able to get resources back to our communities so that we can transform the 4th Street corridor, Lancaster Avenue, Vandiver Avenue, Governor Prince Boulevard.
Oh, please.
These are Market Street. So
Overdue.
Concord
overdue,
Avenue,
Overdue.
the 2nd Street. All of these are major arteries, and we transformed Union Street. But if we can do it there, we can do it anywhere.
That's right.
So and then Seaford, we can do work there. We can do work in Dover. We can do work in every part of our state. But when I say we, I'm talking about everyone working together.
Yeah.
So our slogan is Rise to Unify, because we're going to need a healer in order to be able to rise and unify. So on September 10th, I ask for people who haven't already voted to vote for me.
Well, y'all heard it on Community Crossfire. Vote for Sherry Walker Dorsey.
Dorsey Walker.
Dorsey Walker on September the 10th.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you for having me,
Hope
Councilwoman.
to see you soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We'll be right back with Community Crossfire.
Got to pay back. Revenge.
Agriculture is Delaware's #1 industry, and I've been proud to serve on the Agriculture Committee since 2018, working to support our farmers, families, and to sustain our economy. I passed House Bill 198 to ensure Black history is taught in our schools, empowering our educators and protecting our students. With House Bill 195, I put body-worn cameras on all police officers, enhancing transparency and justice. I'm Sherry Dorsey Walker, and I'm committed to building a brighter future for all Delaware. On Election Day, vote for experience, leadership, and results. Vote Sherry Dorsey Walker for Lieutenant Governor. I'm Sherry Dorsey Walker, and I approve this message.
Good evening, I'm Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver. I am the Councilwoman for the 3rd District. I'm running for re-election, so please vote for Zanthia Oliver for re-election for the 3rd District. Thank you so much. I have another guest on that doesn't need any introduction. Everyone in Wilmington knows her, but I'm going to allow her to introduce herself and we'll get right to the business.
Well, I'm City Councilwoman Maria Cabrera, City Councilwoman at large, which means that I cover the whole city.
Oh, great. Maria, could you tell us why people should vote for you for re-election, or why you're running for the election?
Well, Zanthia, when I run for office, I always tell people that I don't make any promises other than I'm going to work hard, and I continue to be able to keep that promise because it's within my control. And I've worked on the things that are important in our community: public safety, economic development, neighborhood stabilization. All of that ties into the things that are important to our community. So I'm very proud and very happy to say that the things that I ran on, I am still working on, and that we have seen some results. As you know, in the area of neighborhood stabilization, there has been a significant investment made on the east side, in West Center City, the Lower Hilltop. We're seeing crime come down, the numbers are down, but all of that is part of a collaboration. So we can't just say that it's just one thing. In public safety, we all here have supported the license plate readers in the budget, the community engagement units. People are forming those relationships with our police officers, and the proof is in the pudding. I'm not getting phone calls anymore to be an intermediary. Now they're talking to those officers directly, and they're reporting what's going on in their neighborhood.
Maria, 45% reduction in violent crime.
Well, 58% in the Hilltop, Lower Hilltop
Just
alone.
that area, but
Just that area.
citywide.
Citywide.
Citywide. Yep. And Councilman Johnson is on the board of the Land Bank along with myself, and we have done a lot of work to repurpose these vacant properties. And the great thing is that 85% of the contractors are minority-owned businesses that are now growing their businesses, hiring, which ties into workforce development, and they're working on these projects, which ties into affordable housing, because these projects do have to, if they sell the homes, they have to be within the affordable housing code and guide, and if they're renting the home, the same thing. So we really are helping people grow, receive wealth as well as an affordable home. So all of that is important. In the process, we have partnered, that goes along with public safety, with Lights On Delaware, where they have come out, they knock on the doors, and in that Lower Hilltop area, we see solar lights now, ring cameras, LED lights, and when you light up the community, crime doesn't fester in a well-tended neighborhood and where there's lots of lights. So the neighbors are really starting to feel like, wow, the city's paying attention to us, and these investments are being made, and these are things that, I'm involved in because I care, and we do have a housing issue. So this is the things that are within our control that we can do on council to legislate and to make sure that we have affordable housing, that we work with the projects that are taking place, and many that we have funded with monies as well as ARPA money.
Yeah,
Right.
well, and that's what I've always
Go ahead.
respected about you, Maria, just how you're able to stay focused on keep the main thing, housing and public safety, which is what I stress, and I know Zanthia stresses as well, because at the end of the day, if there's no safety, there's no, public safety, and people don't feel secure in their houses, they're going to have problems in life, and it's going to affect everything. So I appreciate your work on housing. The land bank, I think right now, had a lot of momentum. I think we just need more houses, right? Is that the problem?
We need more houses, and we're going to continue to need more funding because public funding is not enough. The money that the city and even the state, I'm grateful to the governor, Governor Carney, for the money that he did give the land bank. On top of that, but there has been some private monies. We have gone out fundraising. Former Councilman Bud Friel has brought in different banks, different private entities to help. So this is a bigger project. Because any of those homes, we lose $40,000 to $50,000 on each house because that's how much work has to be done to bring them to a livable conditions. And some of them have to be torn down, and we make the lots available for $1 to the person next door. But to tie into what you were saying, Councilman Johnson, neighborhood stabilization is my focus because so many things, it checks off so many boxes. The public safety box, the quality of life box, and also the economic box, because now you have a home and in a neighborhoods where property values are going up. And that's always a good thing if you have a home and your values go up.
Well, one thing you said that I do want to echo off is that when you said Bud, you'd have to definitely include Bob Ware with that because, and also Ray Fitzgerald. They have all been pushing to, I remember, especially Ray Fitzgerald, I have to give kudos where credit is due, because he was already working like with some banks for his little projects. And when he came onto the land bank, I remember meeting with him. He said he was going to bring that to the land bank, as well as Bob Weir. So all of them are working in that arena, which is good. But I'd like to just say a couple of things about City Council, and then I'm going to let y'all go back. We have about 5 more minutes. We are the only council who have the Black Restaurant Week. We was it last year and this year. I saw we was talking about it. What 70? First it was 75,000. Now what is it up to 100,000?
Up to 100,000.
And that was something. Session 107 and 108, which would be some council members that you see all the time. We increased HBCU by 100,000 to what? 200,000?
Yes.
And that's all of us collectively. I'm not going. Some people didn't vote for it, but majority did. This is the first time we put in the traffic calm devices, and I'm saying a little bit about this because we always talk about this. It's a pilot program, but people beat up on city council, but some things are out of our.
That's the response to the speed bump program is astronomical. There's a neighbor on 2nd Street, Miss Michelle, who's always for years we've talked about parking issues, and when I told her this finally passed, she gave me a hug. I'm like, she's never done that before. I'm like, the difference it's going to make, especially on the west side,
and then Lancaster Avenue,
speed traps,
Union
speed
Street,
issues.
Lincoln. I hear it all the time.
Neighbors are excited about this. It's like that and the home repair grants.
It's a big thing. Well, one other thing that I think that you were really pushing for, we all just kept, that was with the mayor's administration, to extend the St. Francis for the EMSs. That was major for us. I mean, I know a lot of people call me and say, you know what, council's really doing a good job. I mean, talk about some of the good things. I think, it's a job that, hey, nobody's perfect, right? But when you hear that the EMS was grade leave, who would have took over that project? They was talking about going to Newcastle County, and who saved the day? Us as council members. That's very important. Water, one of the main things that you and Maria were pushing, but the water program.
It's an ongoing fight.
So how much is, we started out with 250, and how much did we add to it?
We added another 100,000, so it's up to 350. But we are going to have challenges because we have new PFAS regulations coming from the White House. I believe, Maria, you were part of the group. We went to the White House this spring. That just came down, and we got to figure out how to fund it.
So look, Maria was at the White House working with various issues, but the water utilization was a topic that she was there to hear and bring back and talk to us. And we added a whole nother 100,000. So if anybody out there, it's not income-based anymore. If you have some issues with your water bill, your water shouldn't be cut off. Call 311 and leave a message for someone to call you from the water department. This is the type of things the council members are working on. And as far as minority businesses, wow, it's never been this kind of money for small minority businesses. No, we're not the small minority business company. I tell people where to go, but it's just good to hear that council.
With $350,000 have been added now to the fund to increase it because we exhausted that fund with all the numbers of businesses that are starting up. With
the majority of women businesses,
yes,
right?
And we are minorities. So the the other thing is when you mentioned the water fund, you know that water fund wasn't even touched until April. So the need is still there. Not saying that it isn't, but we did add more funding, and there are some income stipulations, and we're going to raise those so that more people have access to that. And even with the parking tickets, we just passed out of your committee. We're now, and that's a collaboration with the administration and with the citizens, civil rights justice, where now you can put a deposit down if your car has been booted, and you can make payment arrangements that can extend beyond the 3 months, because we understand that people need their vehicles to get back and forth. But we've done a lot on parking reform. Neighborhoods right now, you can pick and choose if you want street cleaning every week, or if you want to do it once a month, or not at all. But you have to come together to decide that. Parking tickets have been reduced.
And I want to give you credit for that, because you did not let us forget that on council.
No.
We're going through the budget, I think 2 or 3 budget cycle years, and I sit as
3
the
years.
chair, and you always reminded us, we got to reduce tickets, Chris. We got to reduce tickets. And it was you and actually Councilwoman Bracy.
Yeah.
And so you made sure that came back around. So, and I tell people that was the two of you were dogged about that and not let us, the rest of us on council,
They was
forget
dogging about
that
the
was
tickets.
a promise.
They were dogging about the reduction of
it was-
tickets.
yeah, it was
and I was
important.
dogging about the traffic devices. I wasn't letting that go because of Mr.
Mr. Tate.
Mr. Tate,
Yeah.
and he lives in the 3rd district. But
Well,
we have
tickets-
another minute, so I'm going to
Yeah.
go around.
You have to
so-
pay the tickets within 14 days, and
But
then
we only
you
have
pay
another minute.
25.
So what would you like to say in closing? Because we have a minute.
Well, I just want to say, September 10th, think of the people that are out here working for you. Certainly, I hope that I'm one of your 3 choices, because you do have 3 choices for city council at large. We're going to continue to work on parking reform. We're going to continue to work on neighborhood stabilization. I will not rest until the city has a minimal amount of vacant properties. I prefer to say none at all, but we do have 1,500, and we do have a lot of work to do in that area. I just really quickly talk about the seniors. I've been working hand in hand with them with some of their housing issues and with accessibility, and I recently launched my Generation Connect, trying to bring our youth and our seniors together where they can be of service and of help to each other, connecting the generations.
Good job. Your makeup looks nice. You always do a good job, though, Marie. I mean,
Under duress.
I like. I love working with children. Chris,
And
finally.
my pitch is not only support me to continue to support the West Side and lead the city, but for us, the whole team, 108 Council deserves to be back in office, because you've seen the results in Wilmington. You've seen crime go down. You've seen streets that are cleaner. You've seen houses that are rebuilt. You've seen the progress. And so we have the experience and the energy and teamwork to make it happen. So councils that passed, it was very ugly. There was a lot of fighting. But this council is doing the work, and the results show. So as Maria says, we have a lot of priorities, namely affordable housing. I think going into next term, that's got to be a focus.
Yes.
And doubling down on quality of life crime as well. We got to figure out how to combat that, those small things that add up. So that's our focus, and we appreciate your
Chris, I
support.
thought you would at least mention the team, the violence team.
We got to spread that citywide.
Yes,
So we have
that's right.
the violence interrupters that are on certain sectors.
And that was something that we took the mayor to see, and he saw it, and he said, long story short, I'm just glad it's working out. Like I said, we're not perfect, but we've done some good things, and I think it's good just to share with our audience, and they don't always get to hear that. And
It's hard work, too.
and one thing I can say, we're the lowest ones on the poll, but we're the ones they see. So
Work
they
the
blame us
hardest.
for everything, because we can't even do that. I'm like, well, y'all
Education.
call State Representative Stephanie Bowden. She has way more power than me. They just call me. I know him. I'm like, they call me and ask me, could I find them like a condo? I'm not a realtor. I mean, some things I can't do. And one thing that really hurts my feelings is that some people think it's all for about the public safety. No, when somebody's being shot or some shooting or something like that, that has nothing to do with, that's a public safety issue. We were talking about getting a booklet together so people can see what council, can really do. Some of these things
What's
we
within
can't
our
do.
power.
Yeah, some of the stuff is for Dover. We can't, you're talking about school,
Well, that's why
education.
it's important that we did do the Partners in Crime program,
Yeah.
Partners in
yeah,
Care program.
they're doing a
to
good
have
job.
some social workers, because the city, we don't have a
That's something else we
social work
passed. That's something
agency.
else we passed.
And we're trying,
And I
We're
wanna-
here to advocate.
That's
We're here
it.
to advocate, and we can connect. Today, I got a call for half an hour about someone who's having a serious issue with the way his house was constructed. I had to forward him to the federal delegation, because he's gone through all the other channels, because it's
Nothing you
out
can
of our
do.
hands.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And, I wanted to piggyback off what you just said. Being a leader is about bringing people up. escalate, like the young lady was here, trying to mentor them. Being a leader is not trying to tear people down. I did hear that on NBC, and I was like, you know what, I'm writing that down, because, and it's the truth. You know, we're in a position that people look up to us. I mean, we are the leaders, so we should act like leaders. I mean, nobody's perfect, but it's a way that you carry yourself, and it's a way that you treat people, and it's a way that you talk to people. And I'm glad to say that most of us in 107 and 108 have done that. And I'm Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver. Vote for me for the 3rd District for re-election. And Maria Cabrera.
Maria de los Angeles Cabrera, vote for me for at-large. Make me one of your 3.
Uno, dos, tres.
Uno, dos,
And
y
Chris
tres.
Johnson, appreciate your support. Hope I'll earn your support for District 7. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will be back next week. I appreciate y'all. Look forward to working with y'all. We have 5 more days to go. Let's go, let's go. Have a good one. Thank you.
I'm mad. Got to get back. I need some get back.